Lots of fantasy-based emoji designs were added in Unicode 10, the most fantastic Unicode update. As an expansion pack, it really removed the constraints of the emoji world, now allowing just anything you can make up but not copyright to have an emoji. Something I did cover a bit in the jobs episode, but it wasn't yet so standardized. Human-like emoji have gender options. There's plain, male, and female. Unlike emoji race, which tends to just be a color palette, the designs for gender options are often listed separately in emoji rosters, and can sometimes be quite divergent, and it's reasonable for me to observe them as separate emoji. Hence, for each humanoid, I'll choose the best plain, male, and female, the three genders. Ungendered designs haven't caught on with everyone yet, and for some of them, they just use the male or female one. If you make the neutral one distinctly male or female, you're encouraging gendered norms. Gender neutral is the true neutral gender for any of these human emojis, and I covered the pregnant emoji ages ago, so I don't have to worm around that one. The gender neutral version often has a reasonable stab at a gender ambiguous haircut and minimum signifiers for maleness or femaleness. The kind of emoji you'd pass in the street then double take because you didn't know how to categorize them. Androgymoji. If the Apple mage holds their stick over your head, they get control of you, like in The Sims. Microsoft show that there's a big age gap in the genders of the mage industry. It's like newsreaders or heterosexuals. The Facebook female mage, played by Miriam Margolyes, has a really high cleavage, and maybe the man mage does too, but he hides it with his beard. I think Twitter actually get this the best. We do generally expect vampires to be male, but get with the times. Women and non-binary people can be total creeps too. Here's Tsunetsuki Matoi. Openmoji shows the vampiric magic of having a floating head. It kinda looks like it's been told off. WhatsApps actually have blood dripping from their mouths and are neo-Nazis, but her hair is so smooth. Look how flawlessly it falls around the collar. JoyPixels' male vampire is a crooner, and the female one hosts Ask a Mortician. Some of these colors are like a dog cone. I guess that's one way to foil a vampire. Right, Facebook's male one is really good, but not the female one. That just looks like your sister hearing that you started dating someone and trying to plan the wedding for you. So the best female one is this vampire who bullied you at school, and ungendered JoyPixels. You got that? Do zombies have gender? Like, they might have sex, I mean biological sex, not zombies having sex, but they probably don't have a concept of gender. Gender is in the brains. Oh, that's why they're so hungry! For ungendered, it's obviously Facebook. That's brilliant. Then there's how men at a rock venue look to the women there. Microsoft's is doing this dismissive gesture. WhatsApp's has strangely perfect hair. Twitter's is just how you look after a day at the office. Emojipedia's is naked. Why is that more disturbing on a zombie? And the thing is, this Facebook one I called ungendered is actually meant to be male. Look, that's the same thing with girl hair. But it works best as genderless. So for male and female, I say apple. A merperson swims through gender fluidity. In the lore of mermaids, they are far more often female. That's the whole point of them. But if you consider the extent to which they exist, there's plenty of room for inclusivity. And I'm pretty sure most of those sailors were bisexual. Maid mermaids famously have breasts that the little oysters in these shells are constantly sucking on. To stay on. Suction, that's all I mean. If bras are for decency and modesty, if it would be inappropriate to show breasts, clamshells just make a bigger deal of them. And let's just not worry about the anatomy of mer people. Twitter's has a second mouth at the end of the tail. Facebook's has no sign of a bra but carefully positioned hair. I think if I posted this emoji on Facebook, it'd get taken down. JoyPixel's mermaid is absolutely extra. Then there's the semi-professional photo shoot where all the elements are set up just right, but she's still got a slightly awkward facial expression, and you can see the seam of the trouser part. The koi boy is far more likely to carry a trident. Tridents were used for killing fish and humans, so they're probably also used for killing mer people. The shy little wave whilst carrying a massive weapon is a bit off. Samsung get the plagiarism award. JoyPixels has a really weird tan. Emojipedia's has a really short legs tail thing. Imagine how annoying it would have been for him to get on or off that rock. Then in gender neutral, everyone's really confused about how to draw the chest. Apple's sea creature sports a binder. Two of them sheepishly fold their arms, unsure if they're hiding anything. Right, apples are really good, except that the trident ends behind the tail. It should be longer than that. Nonetheless, it's the best gender neutral emoji. WhatsApp's for male. It's quite risque how far down this bare torso goes, but not risking much because it's just fish. I really don't know how they... Oh, that doesn't sound that fun. And the smell. Then Maid's Joy Pixels did the best job. Elves are famously androgynous, except at Christmas. Some of these seem to be visual references to particular characters, but I don't quite see the link. It's funny how hair length is the usual distinctor for female versus male, but we think of elves as long-haired, so we need to rethink that. WhatsApp's Elfman has a really confusing hairline. This headband on the Alvina, but here the yellows all run together and he looks like a construction elf. I say Joy Pixels, Apple for female, and Google for male. Yeah. Genie has always been a feminine name, but we're inclusive these days. Quite the non-binary quiff there. Genie, you're free of binary gender. I think we need the tail and the lamp to ensure they're not just a discolored human. Joy Pixels has no hands and is in a high-vis vest. The face on the Samsung ones is hilarious. WhatsApp's belt gold ring is too tight. There's a huge majesty to Facebook's designs, but they're just a bit too scary. So Google for each. Except that female hairline sucks, so Apple for that one. It's U plus 1F90A, the emoji fairy. We've got awesome face at Samsung. Facebook are again channeling pure evil, but in a sexy way that's going to complicate a lot of childhoods. Strangely, Joy Pixels and Google have a shared universe character, and Emojipedia's has a wand with magic coming out of it, but the same magic coming out of a wandless hand, so they wouldn't need a wand. Apple's is best, then for Ferryman, it's Apple again, still the strongest, although Fairy midriff is a bit off-brand. But what the hell is this Facebook designer going for? They keep having the gutsiest designs in this episode, but this cheering bootcut gremlin is just not it. Then the fairy is sex. Some credit for WhatsApp, but it's Apple again. You like superheroes, don't you? You watch the films with them. And then they make more, and you watch those. Emojipedia's has two red, creepy hands sneaking up on them from behind. Their first attempt is pretty funny. A lot of these look a bit pathetic, like really cheap superhero costumes, which I guess is more likely for a superhero to have. The real heroes are their stylists. So we're down to the actually respectable ones, and that's Facebook's typically dramatic design, and Google's, which is super close to copyright infringement. Google on the neutral, and yeah, Facebook can have the male and female, but I want to learn these characters' names, powers, backstories, and motivations. Then Supervillains. The hands on Emojipedia now look like they're giving a battle preparedness neck massage, and yes, you get to see their old design. The current one is the dreaded supervillain Bad Hair Day. Wait, not dreaded in that context. Samsung's is just uncomfortably cold. Microsoft's is actually smiling and a minion. Better costumes all around, but it's Google's that's strongest in all three. The Unicode unicorn doesn't have gender options, but it sure makes a lot of use of pastel blue and pink and rainbows. Go for Facebook. If you liked this video, you liked this video.